Happy middle of the week, San Diego. We are back at you doing what we love to do aside from selling real estate, Tammy K. I think I love talking as much as I do talking while doing real estate. I think just talking just for the sake of fucking talking. There we go. Couldn't wait 2 seconds and drop the F-bomb. Anyway, we are here today. We're in beautiful Bankers Hill. So excited today. We are going to do a special series spotlighting small businesses in San Diego that are empowered by women. Tammy K, what are your thoughts?
Amazing. I love it. I love everything about this podcast that we're doing today. Not that I don't like to talk about real estate and other things, but this is one that I particularly love.
Right. And especially because in our industry, image is everything. And taking care of oneself is, as we know, very important in life, whether it's mental wellness, spiritual wellness, physical fitness, whatever it is, financial, whatever it is, it's very important to take care of yourself. But in real estate, it is such an image-based business in terms of how we look, how we dress. And I hate to say it, a lot of times agents, and I'm not knocking all agents, but I'm simply saying they define themselves based on the kind of belt they have on, as I sit here with my belt on today, but whatever. They define themselves. We don't do that, obviously. We do these things to make ourselves feel better, right? So today we have a very special guest, and she, in my world, and Tammy, you can probably support me on this one, is like one of the most important people I have in my little arsenal. Why? Because she does all of my facial injections.
Yes.
Yes. And we're going to talk to her a little bit about her business. We're going to talk to her a little bit about why she chose to get into the aesthetic industry. Why does she do what she does? She's a super smart woman, a badass businesswoman. She's relocated from, I think, Arizona, but she can correct me on this. And now she's killing it in San Diego. And we are grateful to have her as a guest because we're going to talk everything about her business. Woman-powered businesses, I'm all about it. Tammy, what are your thoughts about our guest today?
I love her. I am super excited to hear what she has to say, and I'm super excited to get some other things done by her. So that's all I got on that.
No self-interest here whatsoever, but all excitement aside, you know, when you meet someone who just has it, right? They just have that vibe. They have that gig. They have something that really sets them apart from other people. And what more of an honor and opportunity for us to sit here and talk with her today and focus on local businesses that are powered by women and just kind of get to the nuts and bolts of why they do what they do, how they got to be so successful, and just highlight their business. And yes, for those of you who are interested, we will have her information available to you so that you can reach out to her, because what woman or man can't use a little Botox in their life? Welcome, Deanne. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
So obviously we talked about doing this a while ago, and, you know, of course, timing and scheduling and all sorts of other things have kind of delayed this, but we're here today. And I have to say, you're probably one of we are most excited about this podcast than we have been anything in a long time. And that says something, but for all the obvious reasons. So tell us a little bit about what you do, why you do what you do, how you got involved, and just kind of tell us kind of the method to your madness in terms of how you succeeded, especially in the middle of a pandemic over the last few years. And you just literally pivoted.
Oh my gosh, I did. It was very difficult because I hate to say it. When I moved to San Diego, I opened my business on March 16th, 2020.
Oh, wow.
The next day we got closed down.
Okay, hold on. March 2020? Literally a month later, COVID was hit before.
No, it was March 17th, 2020.
17th, yeah.
Yes.
Dude, whoa.
I know. Well,
Wow.
I've been injecting in Arizona. You were right. I've been injecting now for 14 years. I moved to San Diego, and my husband has a job here, and so I'm here, and I kept going back to Arizona, and I thought, you know what? Why don't I just start a business here? But I was so scared because I didn't have the clientele that I have in Arizona. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. So I find the cute little place that you guys came to at Sola Salons on Front Street.
In Little Italy.
In Little Italy. And it's so cute. I lucked out, and I was like, okay, what if we get closed down? I was signing the contract, and he said, start date TBD. And I was like, okay, you guys are so cool. And he said, we will not charge, if it happens in the next week, we'll just figure it out. Boom, next day, got closed down.
Wow.
So I have to hand it to shout out to Sola. They worked with me and they didn't charge me. And then, we got closed down, back and forth. So for the whole year of 2020, I just kind of considered that a wash. I didn't meet a lot of people. And then basically I consider that I opened up last year here in San Diego. Yeah. And so I got to know a lot of the girls in the salon and different people like you guys, and then it kicked off from there. So it's been good.
So you've been in the medical industry for some time, and I know you're currently working towards getting your nurse practitioner's license. So congratulations.
I am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what prompted you to get into this part of the medical industry? I mean, obviously for different reasons, people get into the aesthetics.
Right.
So what prompted you to make that change?
It was, purely selfish because I was...
I love your honesty.
I know. Well,
if I could inject myself, I would.
Yeah. Well, so I was a cardiac nurse for a long time. I did emergent cardiology. It was like, when somebody has a heart attack, I was that nurse that was there 2 a.m. So I did that for some time. And one of my best girlfriends, she's an injector in Scottsdale. We looked at each other and we're like, do you want to change patient populations? And I'm like, I do. Let's start injecting Botox. So we took classes, we got certified in Arizona, and it just kind of evolved from there. We both went and worked for a plastic surgeon for a while. She stayed, I kind of went on my own, and now she's on her own. So just life happened that way. But I've always been interested in skincare and injectables and anatomy. I nerd out on science with papers and the latest things that are going on in the injection world. So
cardiac nurse versus, I'm stuck on that one, right? So cardiac nurse.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got cardiac patients versus becoming an injector.
Yeah.
Big change.
Huge change. But I'm glad I have that experience from cardiology because I know how to take care of somebody if things were to go south, especially I just had a fainter the other day and I was like, feet up, take her pulse, make sure she's okay. So I know that part of it and I'm really grateful for it because you never realize it because you are putting needles into somebody's face. Yeah. So you have to account for that.
And some people are very afraid of that. I definitely am not, but thank God.
Right. No, and you have to trust that person. Like you can't just go, I know as women especially, and I don't know how men are about this, but I know for women, and I know speaking personally, if I'm going to, there are a couple of service individuals that you have to have 10,000% trust in. Number one, your esthetician. Okay, because they're working with your face. And if you're getting a bikini wax, they're working on your private parts. And you have to trust they're not going to rip your skin off. That's one. Number two, your stylist, your hairstylist, your colorist, etc. Because if they jack you up, you're jacked. And then you've got your nurse practitioner, AKA your injectables, your all that stuff. And you have to trust that, oh my gosh, they're not going to F me up.
Right.
Because they're sticking a needle in my face and I'm trusting them to make me so emotionless that you can't tell if I'm happy, sad, smile, whatever, right? And that if they mess up one time, you could be bruised up.
Right.
Right? So what I love about you, among many things, is, and I know, Tammy, you've noticed this too in her practice, you have a ton of books on the anatomy of the face.
Yeah.
The veins, all of this stuff. And you have this little device.
What is that device?
What is that device?
Oh, yeah, that's
the vein reader or something like that?
It's an Accuvene. So it basically just, I can wave it over the face and it gives me exactly where the veins are located so I can miss those. So just to avoid any sort of bruising or occlusion, anything like that. It's just a kind of a little arsenal that I have to help minimize bruising and get to the right place.
And I've never had anyone use that on me before. And when you whipped that out, I was like, ooh, something new. But I like that because if you do inject into a vein, then that's really bad. Could turn really bad. Other than bruising, other things can happen, correct?
Right. Yeah, it's not
the vein finder's good.
Yeah. Injecting, it's more into like a filler if you get if you inject it into more of an artery, you can have a nightmare vascular occlusion, you could, create like blood clots and blindness. So,
none of those are good.
You want an injector that has a really in-depth knowledge of their anatomy.
Right.
Yeah.
So you made the transition I love that you made the transition from cardiac nurse because, I mean, who wants to deal with hearts all day?
No,
Nobody.
I was over it.
I mean, the heart's a good thing because we need it, right? But
Stress.
right. I would I would probably make the same change. So when you made the transition, and then of course the pandemic had a lot to do with the success of your business and the transition of sorts that you had to do. You know, once you finally found your groove here in San Diego, which is in Little Italy, and now you have all these clients and you love your clients named Tammy K and Tammy D the most.
Right.
But now that you have these clients and you're settled in, you've got your groove going, what would you say the most gratifying part of your new medical career is?
I would say that I have complete autonomy of my schedule. I have autonomy on who I want to inject. I mean, let's face it, not everybody's the most wonderful people to work with, but you know, that's a different story. But I love that I have the ability to create a relationship with people, and I have my own timeline where I can. My goal in my business has been to create a trust and an experience versus, okay, you're done, out. Right. You know, and I want to get to know the patient because I think it helps with what look they're going for and what they're, just to manage expectations.
Right. And what would you say, right, because I know there can be a ton of individuals that come through that are expecting, they want one look. And you're like, yeah, honey, that's probably not something we should start to look for. I mean, you have to kind of navigate the fine line between not making the patient feel like they're being heard.
Right.
Versus I know best because I'm the professional.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of an emotional, I don't know what to say therapy, but you have to be on the same page as them and you have to look at their best interest because sometimes people will come in and they'll say, oh, I want to have my lips done. And yeah, okay, that's great. But do you have a chin? Do you have something that supports that?
Because I didn't think about that.
You know what I mean? Like you'll have like an Ichabod crane that like, you have to have that foundation. And that's kind of my, recommendation is that you want to have a good foundation in your house, right? Because you're going to want to build upon it. And that's kind of how I look at it from here up. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about, obviously networking in general when you're a business owner is huge. And now that you've made your home San Diego and you're really kind of well established, I know you're working on your nurse practitioner's license, which is insane.
I know.
What have you done? If somebody's out there right now that's kind of thinking or tinkering with the idea of becoming a small business owner and doing what you're doing, what would you say some tips are for someone that is just like contemplating that?
I would definitely have them know, well, first of all, they need to know what they're doing, but on a business level, they need to find the right location and find the right resources that can funnel in people. That's why I chose Sola, is because I knew that I had a lot of other people that also have the same community, they have hairdressers, estheticians, massage therapists. I think you have to know the right people. But for me coming here to San Diego, I didn't know a lot of people, but that's why I chose where I did. But that would be my biggest recommendation, is to make sure that you have good referrals and referral sources, and obviously be a good injector so that you have repeat customers.
Can I chime in on that? I met you through a Groupon. So that is not something I typically would do for an injection, but I found you on there and it was absolutely one of the best things that happened. So if I were to do a shout out to something that, because some people are like, oh my gosh, Groupon, you really did that? Yeah. Look who we found.
Yeah.
I never have done a Groupon either.
Yeah. Nor have we.
It worked. Yeah.
And it you guys like the Xeomin, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. I
just wanted to try it.
I actually was like, one of my girlfriends, my esthetician, she was like, just do Groupon. She goes, I did it about 5 years ago and I met some really cool people. It was worth it. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want them to think, there's like kind of a stigma with it. And she goes, no, just put something that nobody else has in the area. And I was like, I did my research.
Smart.
And I did Xeomin. And then I also put one for Versa as well. And I thought, okay. And then I went from there. And it's amazing. I have to say, I have met some really cool, interesting people.
Well, had
that are great
Tammy
clients.
not discovered you through Groupon, I would have never heard about you, because she and I had been talking, because after the surgery that I had last year and Tammy just recently had, there are certain things that I knew that I could not do. And Botox is one of them because of all the inactive ingredients in Botox. It doesn't agree with me. But the pure botulism,
Botulinum.
or whatever, botuline, okay, botula something, works for me, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
had she not discovered you through Groupon, I would have never taken the step. So in a sense, she was a guinea pig.
Yeah.
But a good guinea pig, because, I mean, who doesn't want to put stuff on their face and look beautiful? More beautiful.
Well, you sat there and watched her do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of figured that I was the guinea pig.
That's right. And I went to the appointment with her and I noticed your bedside manner. That's number one for me.
Oh,
when choosing a practitioner, and Tammy knows this about me, you know, I will choose a practitioner whose bedside manner is by far greater than someone who has longer business acumen, has been doing this for a little bit longer and what have you, because of their bedside manner. I've chosen to go with other surgeons because previous surgeons that I've interviewed, their bedside manner and their staff was just horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It makes such a huge
Your
difference.
bedside manner out the gate and your technique and that little gray, that vein finder thing. I was like, whoa, this woman's got her shit together, right? So having said that, you know, here we are, and now we've got a friendship with you and we trust you with our faces. And I know that you probably deal with a ton of different clients every day, but Tammy, in our business, like I said, it's so darn image-based. It really is so image-based. How would you feel, Tam, that, you know, most of the agents that we work with, if not all of them, really feel about this? Do you feel like, I mean, because you can either tell someone gets it done or you can tell someone doesn't get it done, they need it. And the way we look at it, it's like, girl, you need to go see our girl because you got some lines coming up, right? So the way we look at that is like that obvious. But how do you think that in our business especially, do you think agents see this as important as we do, or do you think that they're just not educated about it?
Well, I mean, it's obviously it depends on the individual. And yes, I do think that, I mean, a lot of them think it's very important. And I've had people ask me, because as we know, I'm an open book. I've had people say, oh, so you have your lips done? Where'd you get them done? You know, stuff like that. So I do think it's important, but I also think that it's probably depends on your age as well. I mean, personally, but yes, our image is huge in the business because, I mean, we are, you know, selling and, you know, helping someone purchase one of the biggest purchases or choices they're ever going to make in their life.
Yeah.
So their first initial look at you, first impression's pretty important. So yes, in that long-winded answer, yes, I think a lot of people do think it's very important. I mean, the majority of people I know do have something done.
Right. Yeah,
something.
for sure. At some point or another, they do.
Right.
And men as well. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, Deanne, tell us a little bit about that. I would say, what would you say the percentage of men versus women or vice versa would you say your clientele make up?
For right now, I would say probably like, I'd say 8 to 10% men, the rest women.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. You know, I've had a lot of guys come in recently, and it's just so great to see them. You know, they don't want to look overdone. They don't want to look, but like a lot of them, I've been doing a lot of tear troughs for men and a lot of cheek injections.
Okay, so I have kind of a side story here, but it is totally relatable. So I dated this guy once, and I don't know if I've talked about him before in previous podcasts, but I'm going to talk about him again. He had more stuff done than I ever did. Like,
oh, wow.
I would look at him and I go, okay, normally it's the woman doing all of this. But he had more appointments than I did, getting Botox done, getting, what is that one where you do the gels? What is that procedure where you work on
the Kybella.
Kybella
Yeah,
done. I didn't even know about Kybella. And he's
I've
like, oh
done
yeah,
that.
I'm going to get Kybella. I go, what's Kybella?
Yeah.
Like, what is Kybella? And he told me, I go, okay, were you snipped or was I snipped at birth? Because you're doing this more than I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that I should be the one talking about all these little things that you're doing to your face over time. You know?
Yeah,
so I
that's
think
so
you're
funny.
right. It just depends on the person, because he obviously didn't want one wrinkle. I mean, like nothing showing, right? Whereas
right.
I would be like, no, my chin's okay. I'd rather spend the money on here or what have you. But I think it's very interesting that now men are embracing it more.
Yeah,
than,
for sure.
than normal, right? Where it's okay to go in and have your forehead jacked up with some Botox.
Yeah, and you know, as long as they look natural, I mean, like I said, I always try to get to know the patient to see what their wishes are.
Yeah.
You know, obviously take their medical history, get to know them a little bit, kind of get to know their personality. And I always say that guys look I think they look sexier with a little bit of crow's feet, but like not super frozen, but just kind of like just a little sprinkle.
Only the women can be super frozen.
Right.
Because if we're mad at you, we don't want you to know.
Yeah, no, never. No.
Like, I don't want my guy to know if I am happy, glad, sad, or mad.
No.
Right.
You just a mystery.
I just want to be here.
Funny.
Hi, I'm
You
here.
can fold your arms and say, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm totally fine. And then that's a whole nother, what does fine mean? We can go into that whole, like, acronym of sorts.
Yeah.
We all know that fine means a lot.
Yes, it means a lot in this
you're
world.
wondering, Alberto.
Yeah. Fine is an all-encompassing.
When she says fine, you know something's wrong.
There's something.
That's like code for I'm really not happy right now.
Right.
I'm fine.
What would you say, like, the best part of what you do is? Like, give us an example of, like, what makes you so happy at the end of the day.
Oh my gosh. I love the camaraderie with my patients and the people that I work with. I have my own business, but just the people in my building. I love hearing all of the girl talk, all of the things, learning so many different things. Like you guys, you're telling me about the water that you've been drinking and just like the different people and the things to do in San Diego. I love, love, love that. It's my favorite thing by far.
So it's more of a social thing for you.
It pumps me up because you know why? It's a happy community. I mean, it's not like I'm taking care of a patient that's having a heart attack. It's like they're happy to see me. It's a good vibe.
Yeah.
It's a happy community. It's not a sad, like, oh God, I gotta go to work. I remember I did ICU when I first became when I was a baby nurse. My first job was ICU. And
Okay, wait.
What?
Baby nurse, cardiac. Now
I went into cardiac right after ICU.
Okay, so baby nurse, so pediatrics.
No. Like a new nurse. That's right.
New nurse.
New
nurse.
nurse. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
and then you
train.
Okay, you've been many different. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I realized when I was an ICU nurse, I would drive to work and I was like, I'd have a stomach ache. And that's, I tell like my whole family, like whenever you drive to work with a stomach ache, that means that's not the job for you.
Totally. Anything in life.
And it's just like,
Anxiety.
oh God, what am I going to do? So I did it. I did ICU for, I think, like 2 years. And then whenever we would have cardiac patients come in from, it's called the cath lab when they get a stent, those nurses were so cool and they were turn and burn and they didn't have to stay with the same patient for 12 hours, like sitting there.
Yes, right.
And I was like, you guys are cool and you're smart and you do critical care. Like, how do I get in that? So then they invited me to go to their area and I learned all about the heart. And then I applied for a job and they took me in. And so that's kind of how I got there. So that was my
Kind of your side gig.
that was like the initial splash
introduction.
into the nursing medical community. And then that's kind of how, but I knew I didn't like ICU. It was so depressing. This is a complete 180.
Well, you're making people feel and look pretty, and that's huge. And I have to ask you, what's your favorite thing to do? Is it lips? Is it Botox? Is Dysport? Cheeks? What's your favorite thing?
I'd say lips. I love doing lips, and
Which is why we love you.
Tammy
lips are
has
life.
her lips done.
I did your
Yes.
lips. Yeah.
I have yet to have her do my lips.
Oh, she's
I'm due
next.
for sure.
I love doing lips. I love doing mid-face and cheeks. I love doing jawline. It's so understated. People think like jawline. Remember I was telling you about this woman came in with these big lips and I'm like, wait, no. We need to do your chin and your jawline to support that shit. Sorry.
Do you even have a neck? I mean, I would be like, what do you mean, do I have a neck? Of course I have a neck. What are you talking about? I have a neck. Well, honey, your lips are bigger than your neck. So what I'm saying is we need to like make your neck more balanced.
Yeah, and balance, facial balancing, I think confidence, like creating confidence in people and just a youthful appearance, not like just turn and burn. I like to get to know the patient, to know what their wishes are. And like I said, knowing their personality makes a huge difference. And then I have the ability to create that time to get to know somebody is epic to me because I didn't have that before in previous practice when I worked for somebody else.
Yeah.
I want to know what the jawline thing is because I've had Kybella done, but like I want to know, like, how do you make this like that?
More sculpted?
Yes, more sculpted and not have this. Ooh, I might have to try that if you tell me about it first.
Another reason to go and see.
So you could put Botox down here. There's so many different things you could do. I've injected Kybella, but I think as you know, you get really swollen for so long.
You look like a frog.
It's like a toad. Yeah. Total toad. Yeah. For a long time.
Yeah, it's for a while, but I'm just curious, like how So you inject Botox down here to make
You could do it on your platysmal bands. There's different techniques that you can do.
And it defines your jawline?
Yeah, well, you could do that. And then also, too, you can define your jawline with just hyaluronic acid, just like we do. It's just a thicker formula.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and your
dang.
chin. You know, there's just different little aspects, like the same stuff you do on your cheeks, you could put on your jawline. You could sculpt your jawline this way, pull your chin out. There's so many different things. It's so fun.
I've never heard of that before. Just
Really?
Kybella. I just heard Kybella.
Oh, no. It's a whole, you just get it. Like I said, you wouldn't put that, like, because your jawline is obviously your bone. You don't want to put that same filler in your lips because you look like high brick lips. You want
I'm picturing that right now. That would be weird.
Like I was saying, like you want that foundation, that strength there. But not to, obviously guys would take more because they have a stronger jawline and you want, and so, but I've done some girls that want that really sculpted, defined look where you take a little bit more, but it's this hyaluronic acid. Yeah, no, it's the best.
I want Tammy's jawline.
Honestly, God blessed you.
Yes, I mean, Tammy always tells me that I've got jaw. I don't ever think about it.
I'm like, really? I had to get lipo there and that Kybella twice. It made me look like a toad. And she's like naturally like that.
I know.
So we might have to have a conversation.
Know what
I know.
it is. It's
I know
just,
for sure.
Yeah.
I know. And it's the best thing. It's so cool because when I first started injecting, there was like 2 fillers, and now there's like just an umbrella of fillers that do different things under, Juvederm or Restylane, or there's just so many things to choose from. I always tell people it's like it's like a cola. You have Dr. Pepper, you have Coke, you have Pepsi. There's like different things that everybody does or different wishes. So there's just a huge gamut of choices that you could do for any part of your face.
And basically. I love the fact that a lot of it now is hyaluronic acid based.
Yeah.
I love that because that is such a safe alternative for those who are skeptical about this whole process, because let's face it, and I'm sure you deal with this daily, not everyone is a candidate.
No.
For a variety of reasons.
Right.
Not because facially or aesthetically they don't look like they would be a candidate, because there's a lot of stuff you have to navigate, but psychologically, mentally, and emotionally,
so many
they're
factors
not there.
Yeah.
But so when you throw in the HA, as you will, it's like for me with the filler that we just did on my face, I'm like, oh, I'll do it all day. Because our body makes hyaluronic acid anyway.
Naturally.
So why wouldn't I?
Right. And so there's not an allergy test for it. Like, remember we were talking about Sculptra and you have so many allergies.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought that, I do think that you're a great candidate for it, but you have so many allergies.
Yeah.
Like I'd be so afraid to inject it into you.
And therein lies the difference between you and other practitioners that I have worked with, and Tammy can probably attest to this as well, is you actually are cognizant and very well aware of what you're dealing with. Because most, and I'm not going to name names, but I had a previous woman that I was doing my injections by. She just said, don't worry about it, you'll be fine. I go, well, no, you're not hearing me.
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to let you know that I have A to Z allergies, and I have to be hypervigilant about what's going into my body, because the response and reaction will not be good. Right. And the response from her was, don't worry about it, you're fine. I go, what are the inactive ingredients? So she kept fighting me on this. I go, I can't see you.
Yeah, no.
You, on the other hand, took it and you're like, okay, this might be a good option for you, but I'm skeptical because of A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
But the alternative was, this one's safer because it's hyaluronic acid. Yeah. Boom, done.
And you were okay with it before, so we know. And then, there's just there's so many different variables, and you have to really, even though it's a fun population, it's a medical procedure. It is a drug we're putting into your face. You have to really take it seriously. It's a medical, it's not like something like, oh, this is so great. And then you inject into somebody's, artery, and you're like, they're like,
right.
Well, you're not afraid. You're not afraid to say no to someone. So, there's plenty of injectors that will take anybody on and literally, just like the lady for you, you are not afraid to say no. Right. You don't need that. I specifically asked you what you would do to me, and we're not going to talk about what it is. And, some other people would probably have said a lot of other things, added on many things. Yeah. And you said one thing, which we're going to do. And I appreciated that, because you could have said, well, you need this, and that.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid to say, no, you don't need that. And I'm not, desperate enough to do something that's not going to look good, because we're your walking billboards.
I know you are. Yeah.
So I just have to say I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I actually had a patient actually come in yesterday. She wanted tear troughs done, but she had bags under her eyes, and I'm like, well, you're not a candidate for that. Like, if I wasn't honest, I could charge you hundreds of dollars and do it and get, but would her outcome be good? No, she wasn't a candidate. And it'd be great if I could help her, but she needed surgery.
Yeah.
And
It's
they
something
would
I don't do,
then,
obviously.
reply that it's your fault that I look like this because you did
Right.
X,
Yeah,
Y, and Z.
no. I try to keep everything. That is one thing I don't go for, just making it's great to make money, but it's like, if it's not going to work, then it's just no bueno.
So if somebody's out there that's never, who's a virgin in this world, right?
You mean Botox virgin?
Well, high virgin, and the Botox virgin. I guess I should have clarified
Needle
that.
in the face.
Needle in the face. Right, that sort of thing, yeah.
Virgin?
Yeah, that just didn't come out right. What would you suggest for someone who has never done this before, who has always wanted to do it? Their friends are getting it done. Their family members are getting it done. Their colleagues are having it done. That person, when they come into your office and they say, okay, this is the first time.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. I'm all of these emotions, but I really want to get this done. What would you offer in terms of consolation, if you will, to this person so that they know it's going to be okay?
I would definitely, this is what I do, is I start out with baby steps. Everything is baby steps. Toxins, I carry Botox, Dysport, and Xeomin. I'm looking into Juvo, that's a fourth toxin. I haven't tried it yet.
I've used it before.
Have you? Did you like it?
Didn't care for it.
Okay, I was going to try it. That's why I kind of let mine go, because I want to, if I like it, then I don't, one thing, I don't inject anybody that I haven't tried it on before. So what I would tell the client that has never had anything done is let's take baby steps, because with toxins, I can't reverse that. Filler, I can reverse it. So I would just do little, I always ask what bugs you the most. If it's between their eyes or whatever, we just do a sprinkle and then come back 2 months later, and then we'll add to that.
So truly baby steps.
Yes, truly baby steps, especially if they've never had it done, because they are so worried about what everybody's going to say.
Right.
And, us, we're like, all right, bring it on.
Yeah, give it to me. If I'm going to do this, do it.
What do you want?
Yeah. I want my lips really big. I want my face to not move.
Yeah,
Pretty
I
simple.
almost think I do too much. I have a couple of girls that they'd never had anything done, and then there's the psychology with lips. I don't know if you guys remember, the first time you're like, oh my gosh, they're so big. Oh my God, my husband's going to make fun of me. My kids are going to laugh at me. And then they swell for 2 weeks, and then they go down, and you're like, wait, I want that swelling, So
Where'd they go?
But I've had so many clients.
Right
I had one call. They're like, Houston, we have a problem. The next morning, and I'm like, okay, what part of when I did the tap dance is your lips are going to swell? They are going to swell. They're going to be so huge, and you're going to think that you're a freak. And then after 7 days, you're going to be like, oh my God, I love these. And then, I want them back where they. So anyway, I need to create a card and give them to people and give them the whole psychology of lips and the swelling.
If you could real briefly explain the difference between Xeomin and Botox.
So Xeomin is the most, it's only botulinum. It's the purest form of it. There's no active binding molecules. So that's just a pure botulinum. Dysport and Botox have more added ingredients, so there's just more additives to them. So Xeomin's just the purest. They call it the most natural, but it's like the pure botulinum. They're all botulinum toxins, but Botox and Dysport have more protein, more ingredients to them. So.
Would you say that with the advent of Xeomin, because it's been on the market for how long?
It was in Canada and Europe, I think it was 2012.
Okay.
So it's been there for a while. It just was FDA approved here, I think, and I don't know, it was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So
since it's hit the market, it's all the buzz now. I see it everywhere. My sister in Florida is like, oh my God, tell me how it goes.
It helped with Gwyneth Paltrow being the spokesperson for it too.
Yeah,
of course that helped.
And not only that, but she exudes that because she's all granola, natural, organic girl, right? So if you're going to have any sort of toxin put into your body, it's going to be the organic, all natural, if you will, version of it.
Right.
So it has so much buzz surrounding it now. And I know everybody's different. I know for me it works, But what would you say the success ratio is between the Dysport, the Botox, and the Xeomin in terms of your clientele? Are they more gravitating towards the Xeomin because it is a cleaner version? Is it lasting longer with women, men? What's that look like for you in your practice?
It's about the same. I've noticed that with Xeomin, my Xeomin clients are people that don't respond to Botox and Dysport anymore. And that's basically why I started carrying it. Everybody's different. It depends on how fast you metabolize everything. If you work out a lot, you metabolize it faster. If you live in a hot climate, you metabolize it faster. Or even like, I learned this from one of my classes that I always take. If you have COVID, if you have a fever, your body runs hot, you metabolize it faster because you're burning more. So there's so many different factors that go hand in hand with it. But for my experience with Xeomin, it's been more of people that it doesn't, that Botox and Dysport don't work for them anymore.
Yeah.
And that Xeomin does.
Yeah. And it's safe. I mean, if you're going to go like every once a month or every 2 months, it's still safe to have.
It is,
that there isn't any downside to going and constantly having it done.
No,
Where
yeah.
Botox, I think for me, it lasted like 3 months.
Yeah.
With Botox, but then it started fading a lot quicker.
Yeah. It's funny because, obviously Botox was the first on the market. So, it's technically, Botox is a trade name, but Dysport, they're all toxins. So when people say Botox, but I want Dysport, it's like that's saying I want a Coke, but I want a Pepsi.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're all toxins, but
Right.
So I have a lot of clients now that are leaning towards Dysport because they're out of the Botox phase, or they feel like that it's not working for them anymore. So there's just everybody's different. It's like I could be allergic to penicillin and you're not. There's just the different things that.
And your body develops such resistance to, and tolerance levels are so different, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's different, the chemical makeup. If you were to give any words of encouragement to that nurse that's out there right now that loves what she does, but she's looking for a new artery, if you will, in the medical industry, what would you suggest that person do in terms of bite the bullet, just do it because if you love it? And my dog won't stop barking. I don't know why. Does she need Botox? Oh, it's because somebody's coming up.
I would say educate yourself. Take advanced training courses. Obviously, take your basic courses to learn your anatomy. Take courses from key opinion leaders in the industry. Know your shit before you do it.
Yeah.
Because that's the most important. Because if you know your anatomy, you know where to go and where not to go. That's the biggest pointer I can give to anybody new in this industry, is know your stuff before you get involved in it.
And what do you think sets you apart from the other nurses out there that are doing this?
I think like I was saying earlier, I think I get to know the patient. I get to know what their expectations are, what they want to do, like what is feasible for their plan of care. Yeah. Some people are like, they want that, magic wand where one syringe is going to make them look just wonderful. And, you have to manage those expectations, and it's a fine art to do it. There's a lot of psychology behind it too.
So the podcast that we do is called Under Contract, and that is in the literal real estate sense, but we also take it further in terms of the contracts we make with ourselves, whether it's for emotional well-being, whether it's spiritual well-being, financial well-being, whatever commitments you make to yourself. What would you say the contract that you've made for yourself is now that you've the dust has settled and you're going forward in your journey? What have you allowed yourself to become under contract with your professional path?
I would say again, continuing education, learning the latest techniques, learning the rheology of fillers, taking any class that you can, and just always advancing your knowledge, because things change in medicine. They change every day. Mm-hmm. And that's my key. That's my key goal, is to ongoing, continuing education.
Which is why we love you, because I can tell you when we're sitting in your chair and I look up and I see all these reference books, I'm like, oh, thank God she knows the anatomy of a vein. Thank God she knows that, because as you're injecting, I'm looking at this thing with this stupid machine that's causing me to be distracted as you're pumping me up. I'm like, what is going on here? But that I know Tammy probably echoes the sentiment. Yeah. That makes me feel so comfortable knowing that you do educate yourself further.
Yeah, I constantly do, and it's like honestly, I think back of when I first started injecting and the things I did and what I know now, because the whole industry has evolved so much, and there's even white papers on it. There's key opinion leaders that write in the journals of aesthetic medicine, oh my God, we used to do that all the time, and it's and you're like, holy shit, I would never do that now. So it's ongoing. And maybe in 5 years, I'll look back and things that I'm doing now, like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? But it's constantly changing. There's constant clinical trials going on, and you want to have that evidence-based science to know where to go, like the direction to go, the right direction.
Well, before we go, I know this is important to both me and Tammy K, that, when you have a fellow colleague or a service provider that we utilize and they're a woman and they're in business, it's important to support one another. And that is why we wanted to have you on as a guest today, is to give a huge shout out to you and support your business as we do, because, I don't mind spending my hard-earned money and having you take care of my face. I don't mind that. And if it means feeling good about yourself, then others need to know about you. Others need to know what makes her different is the fact that she has a very solid business acumen. She has a solid medical acumen, and she does take it a step further where she actually cares about you as the patient. She listens to you. She will talk to you about why you want to do what you want to do and how to achieve that. So if you're looking for someone like Deanne in terms of someone to go to, if you're looking to change practitioners in terms of the aesthetics, she's definitely someone that you want to reach out to. We will have her information below, but before we let you go, we wanted to thank you. It's so important for us to surround ourselves with like-minded individuals. We're happy to be a part of the success of your business. We can't wait to see how much more success you endure. And if we can help you in any way, we will.
Thank you.
But are there any specials, anything that you have going on right now that if we have anybody reach out to us on social media, of course they can reach out to you directly, that you might want to share that we don't know about? Because God knows I need to spend more money on my face.
I have a special on Versa filler. It's a hyaluronic acid filler. Mm-hmm. It's not as popular as Restylane and Juvederm. Usually, I'm doing half off usually I do 2 syringes and then half off for the third, but it's a lower price point and it's a great product, and you get 1.2 cc's versus 1.0 for about $100 less than you would spend on, say, a filler like Juvederm or Restylane.
And Versa can be used similar to Juvederm, so lips?
Yeah, mid-face, cheeks, lips, marionette lines,
Okay. Tam, you wanted to say anything?
Oh yeah, my marionette lines. Or however you said, what you just said is going there. Yeah. So in case you guys are wondering what I'm going to be doing, that would be
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we are so honored as always to have guests on the podcast under contract for a variety of reasons. But today's extra special because, like I said, we are highlighting and showcasing, small businesses in San Diego, especially businesses owned by women, because we are here to support our colleagues, our tribe, our sisterhood. And if you have any information or if you want to reach out to Deanne, we'll have her social media information tagged below. And if they reach out to you, you'll definitely take care of them. She's very, very good, you guys. I mean, look at Tammy K and look at me. We're total billboards. Although today I might have bags, which means I might need to inject my I don't know, because I didn't sleep at all last night. But then again, I did sleep. It's that back and forth thing, right? But nonetheless, she is fantastic at what she does. She's in Little Italy at the Sola Salons on the corner of Front and Cedar.
Yeah.
And check her out. And go
Deann Dana Aesthetics.
Yep, Deann Dana Aesthetics. Her Instagram information will be below. And Tam, what do you have left to say?
That I'm so happy that I found you on.
I'm so happy, you guys.
Groupon. I was going to say on Instagram, on Groupon. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate your honesty. Yeah. And we love you.
Yeah, love you guys too. Thank you
for
10,000%
joining us.
Yeah, 10,000%. As always, San Diego under contract, coming at you from beautiful Bankers Hill. Today we had Deanna, our trusted nurse, soon to be nurse practitioner, who does all of our injections. On her face, at least for now.
Thank you.
I can't imagine anywhere else I'm going to need it unless you start doing vitamin B shots and stuff. I
do have B12s.
Oh, God, there you go. She does. There you go. So if you need anything along the lines of aesthetics, injections, all that good stuff, we'll have the information below. San Diego, stay classy. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace out.